We have seen the cost of the silver and glue. We have counted the non-combatants. Now, Sun Tzu brings us to the most critical variable in the scroll of battle preparations: time. This lesson is a directive to plan for as swift a victory as possible. It is not a call for recklessness or stupid haste. Instead, it is a cold acknowledgement that time is a resource, and it is the only one you cannot replenish. In the art of war, the longer the clock ticks, the more the moral law at home and the Ardour at the front begin to erode. A swift victory is born in the temple of calculation. It requires the use of spies, scouts, and modern intelligence to assess the enemy's breaking point. You do not rush into a wall. You find a gap that allows you to bypass the wall entirely. While there is no standard timescale for war, Sun Tzu is adamant. Cleverness has never been associated with long delays. If you can win in a month, do not take a year. If you can win in one day, do not take a week. The ongoing conflict in Ukraine is a stark illustration of what happens when a swift victory fails and the long delay begins. Take the failed spirit of 2022. The initial Russian special military operation was planned for a swift victory, a matter of days. When the intelligence regarding Ukrainian moral law and method proved false, the plan collapsed. Because they were not realistic in their prediction, the swift victory turned into a multi-year furnace of attrition. Take the Kharkiv breakthrough. The Ukrainian Kharkiv counteroffensive in late 2022. By using superior intelligence to find an unprepared gap, they achieved a swift victory in a specific sector, collapsing the front by seizing territory in days that would have taken months in a head-on siege. Take the logistics of time. Today, both sides are trapped in a war of dulling the blade. Weapons are dull, treasure is spent, and other chieftains' internal political pressures are rising. This is exactly the extremity Sun Tzu warned about. Sun Tzu warns, though we have heard of stupid haste in war, cleverness has never been associated with long delays. To be clever is to use speed, the application of force at the right moment. To be stupid is to use haste, moving without the many calculations. You must be fast enough to prevent the enemy from recovering, but calculated enough to avoid walking into a trap. Here is your war tip. Always be realistic in your prediction of how long the war will last. Then try to beat the deadline you have set with good tactics, but never rush. A war that drags on is a war that eats its own children. In the Russia-Ukraine conflict, the master of fate is the one who can find a way to break the stalemate before the state's resources are completely exhausted. Victory is a perishable good. Use it quickly or watch it rot. We have just deconstructed this lesson, the strategic mandate to plan for as swift a victory as possible. In the scroll of battle preparations, Sun Tzu presents time not just as a measurement, but as a corrosive force. Every day that war continues, the silver is spent and the glue and paint are wasted, and the moral law of the people begins to fracture. To Sun Tzu, cleverness is synonymous with speed. He does not mean the stupid haste of a blind charge, but the calculated velocity of a commander who has used spies and scouts to find the shortest path to the enemy's collapse. The Russia-Ukraine war serves as a living laboratory for this lesson, showing the devastating consequences when a swift victory fails and a long delay begins. Take the trap of false intelligence. The initial 2022 Russian drive on Kyiv was a plan for a swift victory, calculated in days. However, because the prediction of Ukrainian moral law was not realistic, the spirit turned into a marathon of attrition. When the deadline was missed, the weapons grew dull and the treasure was spent. Take the Kharkiv sprint. In contrast, the 2022 Ukrainian counteroffensive in Kharkiv remains a textbook example of beating the deadline. By using superior intelligence to identify a gap where the enemy was unprepared, they achieved a swift breakthrough that liberated vast territory before the opponent could reorient their method and discipline. Why is speed so vital? Because a protracted war creates other chieftains. In the modern context, we see this in the shifting political landscapes of the West and the internal pressures within the Kremlin. As the war drags on, the resources of the state are no longer equal to the strain, and even the wisest men cannot avert the consequences of a hollowed out nation. Here is your war tip for the master of time. Always be realistic in your prediction of how long the war will last. Then try to beat the deadline you have set with good tactics, but never rush. Victory is like a flame. If it burns too long, it consumes the very house it was meant to protect. In the high-stakes theater of modern war, the ultimate prize goes to the side that can achieve its objectives before the silver runs out and the ardor of the people turns to ash. Speed is the ultimate deception.